What is up, everybody? This is Adam. Welcome back to Fouled Out. Matt is going to be joining me in just a moment to do our live first round mock for the upcoming 2026 NFL draft. We are using PFF's mock draft simulator on this episode. So it throws you some curveballs with trades and stuff sometimes. Matt and I have both done first round mocks individually, but not together and not going back and forth like this. So it's kind of fun to have an episode where I don't really know what's going to happen coming up. And hopefully it'll be fun for both of us and for you guys as well. But before we get started, just a reminder, you can reach out to us, fouledoutsports@gmail.com. Really appreciate you guys listening. We always love to hear from you. And go check us out on YouTube, search Fouled Out Sports, and give us a like and a subscribe over there to help us grow that. Hit me up. You guys want to talk World Cup, hockey playoffs getting started, NBA playoffs right around the corner. Matt and I will have a little bit of NBA playoff takes at the end of this episode. Do me a favor, wait until the Sox get to 500 to send your baseball emails, and then we can open the floodgates on me. I'm not quite there yet due to the start. But hit us up, go subscribe to the YouTube, and however you guys are supporting the podcast, we really appreciate you. That said, let's grab Matt. Let's do a first round mock. Let's go. All right, Matt is here. When this podcast drops, it's going to be 1 week from the 2026 NFL draft. Matt, how you doing, buddy? You ready for draft time?
I am very much ready. It's been taking too long.
Yeah, it's kind of, I forgot about that because I kind of got into the studying and stuff late this year. And now that I'm like all in and fully invested, I'm like, all right, I am ready for the draft. Like I'm getting very excited.
And it's like, we're definitely like waist deep in smokescreen season. And some of it, I am very much like clear on it being the smokescreen. And I'm kind of just ready to stop hearing it. But, like some of it too is just, I want to figure out what's actually real.
Yeah.
Because there's always a lot.
Yeah, I texted you this the other day. I was listening to a pod and they were talking about the wide receiver class and like doing comps for the wide receivers. And they're like, they did like a high end, a middle, and a low end comp. And the high end comps for every single player, it was like Jordan Tyson is Devontae Adams and Carnell Tate is Justin Jefferson and blah, blah. And I was like, okay, we've just completely lost our minds because for over a year and a half now, this has been a pretty weak skill position class. And then now that we're getting close, now that we're about a week away, it's everybody's getting pushed up and the class is really good and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not falling for a lot of that stuff right now. This is the time of year, and we'll talk about this on the gambling episode next week where we talk about all the odds and stuff. This is the type of year where like all the rumors and the smoke screens, like you said, start going crazy. And people start buying into that stuff more than what we've been studying and what we've known for over a year to be true.
Yeah.
So that said, what we're going to do on this episode is Matt and I are going to do our own mock draft. And like I said in the opening, we are using PFF's mock draft simulator to do this. And it's going to be cool because this is the first year that we've done this on YouTube. We've used the simulator every year for like the last 5 years to do this. But this is going to be the first year you guys can actually see it if you're watching the podcast on YouTube. So if you're listening and you want to see the big board and what's going on, go on over to YouTube, like and subscribe to help us grow the channel, and check out like what we're doing on video here. And what we're going to do is just go back and forth. Matt's going to be the odds. I'm going to be the evens. And we're trying to keep it semi-realistic, but also, you know, when you get beyond a certain point, it's what we would do in this position. In PFF, I think the mock draft simulator will throw some curveballs with some trades. And you and I have both done mocks and like looked at these picks individually, but not together. So just doing it like one after another, kind of going back and forth, I think is going to throw some wrenches into what we're expecting as well. So let me share my screen.
Ooh. Which one will you share?
Yeah. I got it right this time.
You didn't want to share the infinity screen?
I don't think the people could handle that who are watching on YouTube. It was a lot to manage. So, Matt, you are the odds. So you are up first with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah. So, I mean, think we all already knew who this pick was going to be, and then Kirk Cousins kind of told us who it was going to be. I'm going to stick with Fernando Mendoza, quarterback out of Indiana, for a couple of reasons. One, because we know that's going to be the pick, right? Like, no sense in predicting something that we know isn't going to be true. And two, if you don't have a quarterback and you can get a guy who you think can be a guy, you need to take the quarterback. So Mendoza fits the bill. He's certainly not what I think any of us would call a can't miss prospect, but he's the only one in this class that I think could reasonably play solid ball at some point during his rookie season. So you got to take your shot on him.
I think it's the right pick for the Raiders for what it's worth. If you guys want to hear our full conversation about Fernando Mendoza, go back like 2 weeks to the Final Four and like big draft questions podcast that we recorded. We had a really in-depth conversation about why Fernando Mendoza is the correct pick for the Raiders at number 1. Pick number 2. So I knew I was going to be evens here, and I've like really been thinking about this. I have the Jets at number 2, and I'm not going to trade it. I'm going to sit here and make a pick because I feel like the Jets, you know, they have all of these picks over the next 2 years. They have 2 picks in the first round of this draft. They have 3 picks in the next round, or the first round of the next draft as well. And I really think the best thing for them is to like hang in this year and pick talented players because they're going to be going all in for that quarterback next year. So this is a really difficult pick because I think the Jets can go so many different directions here. And, you know, we said this a couple of weeks ago, as the draft really starts at 2. And I, you know, as far as my board is concerned, I have Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Love as the next 3. Like, those are my top 3.
Yeah.
You know, in this draft. And
you know, ironically, most years, a lot of teams, honestly, up here might be tempted to take a tackle. It's kind of like one of the few spots on the Jets roster that might actually be set. Like,
what I would do is go best player available, and I would probably be picking between Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs here. What I think the Jets will do, and to try to keep it more realistic, is I think they're going to draft an edge here. And it's like, pick your favorite flavor of edge. Do you like the power violence game of Ruben Bain? Or do you like the speed rushing, big flashy sack numbers of like a David Bailey? I have Ruben Bain rated as the highest edge. I know you agree with this as well. Yep. I'm not as high on him as you are, but I have him as the top edge. I think the Jets go edge, so I am going to stay in the trenches here and take Ruben Bain for the Jets. So you're up at 3rd with the Arizona Cardinals.
Cardinals are in kind of a weird spot. But the way I see their organization, their team, you're not taking a quarterback this year, right? You are, in all likelihood, probably trying to take a quarterback next year. You need to make sure that your roster is ready for a quarterback. And the right tackle position for the Cardinals last year was easily the worst in the NFL. It was basically just a turnstile. So I'm going to take Utah offensive tackle Spencer Fano. I could have maybe gone back and forth on Maui Noah, but now that we are hearing about the medical rechecks that are being asked about for his back, want to be a little bit more cautious on him at number 3 overall. So that kind of makes it easier for me to stick with Fano. This is clearly a rebuild situation. Like, they cannot bring in a quarterback next year that is just going to get pummeled.
Yeah. We talked about Fano on My Guys as well, and one of his highest similarity scores is Paris Johnson Jr., the left tackle for the Arizona Cardinals. So they obviously like that type of guy. So I kind of think that that's like a home run, that's going to happen at this point. Like Fernando Mendoza going 1 and Fano going 3, I think are like pretty locked in to me. So I have the Titans at 4. I've seen Jeremiah Love mocked here a lot, but I'm going to go a different direction. Robert Saleh is now the head coach for the Tennessee Titans, and Robert Saleh has been at his most successful in San Francisco when he was leading like pretty elite San Francisco defenses. And we know that he really improved the defense for the Jets when he was over there too. But I'm going to take a dude that we comped to Fred Warner last week on the My Guys podcast, and I'm going to give Robert Saleh his defensive weapon in Sonny Styles. I think that's like the perfect, like, I know they got to get more stuff around Cam Ward and like keep developing him, and that's really important with Dayball there. But I think that Saleh is going to want to come in, make an impact, and start getting his guys defensively. And I think of like, Jeffrey Simmons is still there, probably there next year. So you have him up front, and then you put Sonny Styles behind him. I think you're like putting pieces on the field to start building the defense that Robert Saleh is going to want.
I do like almost feel bad for Sonny Styles with the names that he continually gets compared to. Like, people keep throwing out Fred Warner. His just physical body is kind of reminiscent of Ryan Urlacher. Except he's probably faster. It's just going to be one of those situations where it's going to be like almost impossible to live up to the hype, especially as a rookie 5 years down the line. Maybe not so much, but like, as a rookie, I think he is going to be under a microscope just because of like how much he's been hyped up. The guy is an absolute weapon. You got to start somewhere on this defense, and I really can't blame him for taking what is possibly the best defender in this class.
I think that's the type of pick that Saleh would be super excited about, but Titans fans would feel like underwhelmed until we start playing football and they're like, oh, holy shit. This guy's awesome. So you have the Giants at 5.
So the Giants need damn near everything. They have a quarterback. They have the ghost of a running back. We'll see what version of Cam Scatterbo comes back. They have edge rushers. They've got, in theory, have a defensive tackle. We'll see. We'll see if he ends up getting traded. With all the holes on their roster, I feel like I have to just go best player available. And for me, that is Caleb Downs, safety from Ohio State. He is just scheme agnostic. He can play some single high. He can play too high. He can come down into the box. He can cover in the nickel spot. He is that chess piece that allows you to find other guys who are maybe not as versatile, but really good in one area, and build your defense around that, because he can truly do everything. And there's just not a ton of safeties that come out ever that are ready to do that as a rookie.
Yeah, I think you start talking about putting him in with the pass rush they should have if Abdul Carter can take the step forward that we would expect him to take. And it could. I actually really like that pick.
They need to come up with a plan on how to use Abdul Carter, because I kind of feel like they didn't have a plan last year. But
Yeah. I really like that pick a lot more than picking a running back in that situation. Because, like, even if Scadaboo is not Scadaboo next season, like, I still think Tyrone Tracy can be a really good running back.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah, exactly.
I have the Cleveland Browns at 6. This is another one that's really difficult to me. The Browns seem to be in a position where, like, this is the last year before they have to make a decision on quarterback. So, like, I've heard that Watson's going to be back. I know they want to, like, see a little bit more of Shador this year. They're planning on being bad and getting their guy in the next draft unless someone really pops for them this year in an unexpected way. So I think you have to support that vision in one way or another. Their needs on PFF here are quarterback, wide receiver, guard, and tackle. So I'm kind of between wide receiver and tackle at this point. As much as, like, the receivers are kind of getting pushed up the board in the media right now, I don't know that I love any of the wide receivers enough to draft them 6 overall in this draft. Like, I think there are between, like, 4 and 6 guys who could be first round picks. I think we'll have them go in the first round of our mock here, but I'm going to go with the line and go with I'm going to butcher his name. Francis Mauigoa, the tackle from Miami.
Maui Noah. Yeah,
Um,
it's languages are special.
yeah, I knew I was going to butcher it. I'm sorry, Francis. I really feel bad about getting people's names wrong because, like, that's your name, man. Like,
Yeah.
who?
Yeah, I'm sure he's used to it at this point.
Yeah, I know, but, like, Kyle Brandt was, like,
yeah.
going in on that about Travis Etienne, apparently is how you say that, and people have been saying it wrong for years, and he was like, "That's your name, man. You got to tell people get it right." So, my apologies. I am big on getting people's names right, but I'm taking the tackle out of Miami. I think offensive line is still, to me, more important than wide receiver when we're talking about quarterback play. I'd rather have a good offensive line to judge these guys behind before I have to make a decision next year. And they have another first where they can get one of the wide receivers I was talking about, but Francis is probably not going to be there at that point.
Yeah, I am fascinated to see what Cleveland does, because two names that have been floated out there for Cleveland at number 6 are Monroe Freeling and Caden Proctor.
Yeah. I like Maui Noah more than either of those guys.
I would say that Maui Noah is a cleaner prospect than either of them. Obviously, the medical is pending. That could certainly change things, especially with it being with his back. But I still struggle to wrap my head around people. Might be a little bit of spoiler. People talking about Caden Proctor in the first, let alone in the top 10. But
I don't think Caden Proctor is going in the first of this mock, but
yeah, there's certainly smoke.
Yeah, I've seen Carnell Tate a lot at 6. And I just don't, like I said, I don't know that I love the wide receiver prospects enough to be like 6 overall pick. I'm doing it, but also the positions that they need, it's not a super strong class for tackle either. So
yeah, I don't want to dismiss the fact that this was a stronger class than the one that we're talking about right now, but like, I would like to reflect back to everyone that Jamar Chase went 6th overall. How close do we feel like Carnell Tate is as a prospect to Jamar Chase?
Yeah.
For me, that's a pretty big drop off.
There's a little bit of a gap there.
Yeah, not that I don't like Carnell Tate. I think he's going to be a good NFL player. But man, like you take a wide receiver number 6 overall, like I was talking about it with Sonny Styles, with the hype. Like no one's gonna care what the strength of the draft class was. If you are drafted 6th overall, you are expected to be a star as a wide receiver. Like everyone's gonna throw that out the window. And I think that would be incredibly unfair to a guy that has no control over the situation that he's in.
Fair. So you're up with Washington at 7.
Washington made some moves to maybe potentially make this position not necessarily a need in the offseason. However, Washington did not bring anyone in that is going to stop me from taking Jeremiah Love. If we are going to make Jaden Daniels' life easier, the quickest way to do that is with a run game. And giving him a check down option that can potentially turn into big plays as well. Easily the best player left on the board at this point. I feel like if you're Washington in this situation, you would be an absolute fool to not sprint that card in.
Yeah, I think their goal here is probably to get back to the more explosive offense they had 2 years ago. I mean, it starts and ends with keeping Jaden Daniels healthy, but one way to have him take less hits is to have a better run game and not count on his legs to move the ball on the ground. So
precisely.
I like that pick. Yeah. New Orleans Saints at 8. Another interesting one. Part of me wants to go like Arvell Reese here. Arvell Reese is getting pushed up boards a lot because people think he can convert from being a linebacker to an edge rusher. Because he's a very, very diverse prospect. Like he lined up all over the front 7 at Ohio State. So I kind of like that for the Saints of like, they need a linebacker. They can play him at linebacker, but also kind of move him all over the place. And then for them, if he turns into an edge rusher, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. But if not, it's still a good pick. However, I think Tyler Shuck showed us a lot more than any of us expected out of him last year. And I kind of want to get him more help. So I'm actually going to take our first receiver off the board here. I'm going to take Carnell Tate for the Saints and give Tyler Shuck, like, he made Olave kind of come alive again last year. Yeah. And Carnell Tate has a lot of those same qualities that I really liked about Olave in the draft, like very proficient route runner, really good at the catch point, excellent body control, a lot of really good things that make him the number 1 receiver on my board. So I'm going to invest in Shuck here and say, let's get you another guy to throw to, because the wide receiver room, like really the pass catching room outside of Olave is not great. We're looking at Mason Tipton, Devon Veal, Bub Means, Jalen Polk, Kevin Austin. Like, let's get him someone to throw to and see what he can really do.
Yeah. And a key point that has kind of Bren brought up too is without a more high profile receiver being brought in, New Orleans is one very likely Chris Olave injury away from being back to having no one. Really need that number 2, which I think is Carnell Tate's ideal role in the NFL. Not saying he can't develop into more, but as things stand, with his play style, not having that like AJ Brown kind of physicality, looking at him as a solid number 2 that can take a little bit of pressure off of Olave or benefit from the attention that Olave is going to demand when he is healthy. sounds like a pretty good pairing
Yeah,
for a young quarterback.
he's gotten some comps to like smaller T. Higgins because of how good he is at the catch point. And I'm like, it's kind of the
Yeah.
perfect role. It's like that you need that, like, not that they have a number one as good as Jamar Chase to take the pressure off of him, but like it's a good role for Carnell Tatum. So you have Kansas City at number 9.
I am torn here. I have two thoughts on this. Given the cornerback market and how expensive it is, I would not be surprised if the board shaped up this way. If Kansas City didn't take this opportunity to take the first corner. So in this scenario, I'm going to take out of LSU the cornerback Mansour Delane. Coincidentally, is kind of like the most Louisiana name that I've ever heard.
I was gonna say it's such a good name for a corner.
That is
Mansour Delane.
Mansour Delane.
Mansour Delane. Like what a Louisiana name.
He's got all the measurables. He can and will play well in press man coverage. And there's the team that we are going to probably talk about later that specifically didn't have any of that last year. If you can get one of those guys cost controlled for 5 years, and maybe you just traded one of those guys away, you're probably going to take that opportunity.
So I have the Bengals at 10, and I think you cannot humanly move faster than the Bengals will need to move in this scenario to go and draft Arvell Reese, the linebacker from Ohio State.
Yeah, that was the other one that I considered.
Yeah. It's just such like, this is like manna from heaven for the Bengals and their defense to get, I think projecting him as like, hey, he's going to be an edge, so let's take him number 2 overall is too much for him. Yeah. But in this situation, the Bengals kind of need everything in the front 7. And for you to just be like, hey, he can be a linebacker, we can move him all over the front 7 and use him as a weapon. That's just, it's such a perfect pick for the Bengals.
I was struggling, and I still like number 2, which is where a lot of people have been placing him. It's still too rich for me. However, I will credit Brett Coleman brought up the using him as a souped up Donta Hightower. Now that clicks. Now I see the vision.
Yeah.
If you're going to use him like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
See, you have the Dolphins at 11.
This is another one where I can kind of go a number of ways. If I put the injury blinders on, I think I am sprinting in the Jermod McCoy pick. I just don't know that I can ignore the fact that it took him like 18 months to finally run a 40 after his injury. Granted, he tested great when he finally tested, but I do have concerns that it took 18 months to recover from an ACL. So I think in this situation, I pivot and I'm going to take USC wide receiver Mekhi Lemon. Look, if you are going to run Malik Willis out there, you have to give him someone that is going to be reliable. If nothing else, that is what Mekhi Lemon is. Like, he is not necessarily going to be the big playmaker, but he has been drawing comps to Amon-Ra St. Brown, which I will posit by saying that is unfair to any player that is not Amon-Ra St. Brown. However, like, I could see where they are coming from in that, like, he plays with a lot of toughness. He catches everything that comes to him. and like takes the hits. He's not afraid of traffic. In this scenario that Malik Willis is in without really any options, he's gonna need someone that is gonna catch the ball when it comes to him, take some hits, hang on to the ball, and get up and do it again.
Also, if you're spending all of that money on Malik Willis to give him his first job as a full-time starter, you have to give him something. They trade like
something.
Tyreek's
Anything.
gone. They traded away Waddle. You have Achane, who can be a running back and a wide receiver with a lot of success. Like, he's really good, but they have nothing besides that to like help Malik. So I like the pick.
Yeah, I really wanted to do something to prevent Storm Duck from being a starting outside corner for them, but
well, they have another one.
Well, they
have another
might
one
have one
coming
more
up.
chance, but
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I have the Cowboys at 12, and I am going to make the most Cowboys pick that you could possibly make in this situation. David Bailey, the edge from Texas Tech, has fallen too far. We talked about him a little bit at like 2, but Texas dude, he had 19 and a half tackles for a loss, 14 and a half sacks at Texas Tech last year. It's a local guy for Texas Tech. It's a really flashy guy, which is like perfect Cowboys. There's a lot of sizzle, and we'll see if the steak is there to back that up. But that, like, I think Jerry Jones is like over the moon getting David Bailey at number 12, which is, like, might be too far for him to fall, but like we just laid out the scenario of exactly how that could happen.
Yeah, no, it is a microcosm of this situation where like all the elite prospects in this class are at non-premium positions. So we have a guy like David Bailey where there's things to like about him, but there are certainly reasons why you're not taking him at, between 2 and 11, right? It's just kind of a situation of like, is the fit right? And in our minds, it wasn't right until then, but something tells me that NFL GMs might feel a little bit differently. So
yeah. You have one of your favorite teams, the LA Rams, at 13.
They're the team that I pivot to when my team is no longer playing.
They just have Matt Stafford.
Yes. And on that note, I know what position I'm going. My question is, do I pick for the future or do I pick for now? So I would say the one position on the Rams offense that I would seriously look to upgrade in the first round of this draft is right tackle. I think they showed well enough last year that they can certainly win with what they have at right tackle. Conceivably, I could certainly draft for the future there. However, this is a team that is expecting to win a Super Bowl now. I am allured by the idea of taking Blake Miller for the win now approach to step in at right tackle for this team. I think the more prudent approach is to take the younger, more high upside Monroe Freeling. And I know he's only played left tackle, but he only played there for a year. I think he is young enough where you can still absolutely flip him to the right if you want. But this guy's physical upside at tackle is through the roof. Might be a little bit early with his inexperience, but it's just like, you're not going to get a second chance as a physical freak like that. Like, when those guys fall into your lap, you just got to take them.
Yep. I have the Ravens at 14, and man, I'm really torn here of what to do with the Baltimore Ravens. So they just lost their center, Tyler Linderbaum, to the Raiders, to the most expensive center contract of all time. Currently, it looks like they're planning on replacing him with Corey Bullock, there's not a center that I would consider at 14. So I think that has to be a later pick for them.
Yeah.
I'm looking at staying along the offensive line with a guy you really like, Vega Ione, out of Penn State to
Yeah.
fill in for guard. But I also just look at I feel like the offense is not as good as it should be with Lamar Jackson at quarterback and Derrick Henry at running back, because the receiving options are like basically Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, and a whole bunch of nothing.
I do think there is a sneaky need that not enough people are talking about for them on their offense. Tight end. Not saying shove Mark Andrews to the side, right? But this is an offense that Lamar Jackson is an incredible passer, and it goes as the run game goes. It does, especially when you have Derrick Henry. And Kenyan Sadiq his blocking is actually pretty overlooked. I think he's a pretty good blocker. Also, at some point, Mark Andrews will retire, right? Like, I'm assuming that will eventually happen. And you might want to kind of have that replacement in-house.
Yeah, I think Sadiq is interesting here, but I'm going to go with someone that I really like who just feels so Baltimore Ravens to me, and that is Indiana wide receiver Omar Cooper Jr. He was a my guy.
Yeah.
Talked about him a lot last week because of like the toughness after the catch and like the fact that he is very physical, which feels very Baltimore to me. But also, like, if I look at the fit in the wide receiver room, Zay Flowers is like, deep threat, kind of big play guy. And then they have Rashad Bateman, who is also like big play guy. They just have all of these vertical threats in the wide receiver room, and not the dude who's going to do a lot of the underneath dirty work outside of Mark Andrews. And I think like Omar Cooper Jr. is someone that is going to do that in spades.
Yeah, I would have considered him had I not liked what was there for tackles for the Rams. I think he fits what the Rams like at wide receiver as well.
It's someone who people have talked about, like, it's going to be hard for him to find a fit in the first round, but I'm like, I think it's hard not to. Like, he fits in so well with like what the Rams have and what the Ravens have and what a couple other teams were going to come up have. So I feel he's so.
If you don't have a guy like him, then you probably want a guy like him, and if you have a guy like him, you probably want more guys like him, because you probably gravitate towards that specific kind of wide receiver. You're like, diversification.
I look at his game. I look at his game and say, that's so Raven. So pick number 15, you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm going to take Oregon tight end Kenyan Sadiq for them. They really don't have much of anything worth noting at tight end. It's a reasonable assumption that this is a upgrade for them at tight end. Should help in the run game. It will help Baker in the pass game by having someone that is reliable and can make some plays running after the catch. Just a significant upgrade at that position for them over like the Cade Ottens of the world, Like, they're solid to have on your roster, but you might want a little bit more dynamicism out of that position.
Yeah, I think it helps with Mike Evans leaving as well to add another receiving threat with your most reliable guy.
Someone that can be physical as well.
Yeah, with your most reliable dude leaving. So I have the Jets again at 16. We talked earlier about like trying to get your roster ready to pick a quarterback. The Jets are obviously all in on next year's draft to get their quarterback, whether that's like an Arch Manning or a Dante Moore or whoever it ends up being. They are not taking a quarterback in this draft. So we got an edge rusher for them to build up the talent with Ruben Bain. I'm like really stuck here between which receiver. I want to take a receiver for them, but I'm like, God, who fits good with Garrett Wilson? And we have Jordan Tyson, who I think if like it wasn't for the injury history with Tyson, he would probably already be gone here.
Yes, for sure.
Denzel Boston, who is like a really big, interesting receiver, and KC Concepcion, which Kevin Concepcion, the KC stands for Kevin Concepcion, so his name is Kevin Concepcion, which makes me like him more, if I'm being honest. I think I'm gonna go with KC. Honestly, I know he was a my guy for you. He's another dude who he's going to be able to get open at the NFL level and do a lot with the ball after the catch. And I think that that's like a really nice compliment to Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
And who's more of like the typical possession, bigger play receiver, not so much like as much of the underneath and then I'm going to house it kind of guy, or like underneath and move the chains.
From what we know, he is certainly going to be a positive in the locker room, and that is something the Jets are going to need in spades right now.
Yeah, I started thinking about like, how do we get this roster ready for a quarterback next year? And it's like, okay,
yeah,
now if I'm a first-year quarterback, I'm stepping into like, I have a good offensive line. We're going to have a pretty good defensive line, assuming that Ruben Bain pans out. I have Garrett Wilson, who's a good NFL receiver. I'm adding KC Concepcion, who's a good NFL, like I think going to be a good NFL receiver and be a nice compliment. Like that's starting to become a better position, and you got 3 firsts next year. So assuming you don't have to trade him for a quarterback, you can address some of the other deficiencies as well. Okay, it is time. Matt, for his favorite team, the Motor City Kitties at 17.
All right.
What do you got?
Show me them tackles.
Boop. Caden Proctor it is.
I'm going to keep it safe, and I'm going to go with Blake Miller. Tackle out of Clemson. He is quite possibly the only draftable player out of Clemson that didn't have a completely and utterly shit year. So I feel like he over the years actually has consistently gotten better. He is a pretty good athlete. Certainly not like the supreme athlete that like Freeling or who we may or may not touch on later, Yamachor is, but good enough that he's going to be successful in the NFL. But he is refined enough that he should be able to come into the NFL and start week 1 and not look like he's completely out of place. And I think that is all you can ask out of a rookie tackle that isn't of the prowess of like a Joe Alt or a Joe Thomas. Apparently it's the Joes that are apparently free of the rookie years, but no. I do think he will develop and get better in the NFL, but I think he will be a solid starter in his rookie year that can continue to get a little bit better, but knowing that we're not going to have 2 Penei Sewells.
Yeah. So I have the Vikings at 18 right now. Man, this is a tough one because their like biggest needs, like center and then like the defensive line.
Yeah.
It's not really like someone worth taking at either of those positions right now.
Do you know the one player that is being mocked to them.
I don't think I've seen it.
It might not be 100%, but like I swear it's at least over 80% of mocks have Dylan Tiananmen going for them.
Yeah.
To them.
I think that we're gonna have that as well, because that's where I was going. Is like I looked at the trades.
Yep.
And the trade offer I have is from San Francisco at 27.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, do I really want to go down that far for a team that does have like very real needs to fill? I mean, I guess as always, it would depend what San Francisco would actually offer.
Yeah.
In that scenario, like if it's like this year's first and next year's first to go from 27 to 18, then yes.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm gonna sit with the Vikings, and I will take Dylan Tiananmen. It makes so much sense. Like white safety after.
I mean, yeah.
What's his face being there for so long?
Yeah. If one white safety leaves, then you must bring another. Those are the rules.
This is the way. You have the Carolina Mad Cats at 19.
Give me wide receivers. So
how does this team still need a wide receiver? Is my question. They draft them every single year.
I like Boston, but it's a little bit rich for me. Yeah, there's not a receiver that I feel great about at 19. I'm gonna take Toledo safety Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I think we've seen you can never have too many weapons on defense. He is certainly not the craziest athlete, but his coverage skills combined with his size and ability to play in the box, I think will present some opportunities for him to be used as a weapon for them to continue to like build on this defense. I feel like they like the edges that they have right now and want to see where they can develop, and so continuing to add like weapons behind them is maybe the way to go on defense.
Fair. I have the Cowboys at 20. I'm going to go with Jermod McCoy, the corner from Tennessee, someone that we had talked about a bit before. If it wasn't for the injury concerns, I think he goes higher in this draft.
I'd probably take him where he took Mansour Delane.
Yeah. Well, you can't take Jermod McCoy over Mansour Delane. But like it's a need for the Cowboys as well. Right now they're going into the season with Deron Bland and Siobhan Revelle, who they drafted like 2 years ago out of ECU, who was, a big physical project of a corner. But I don't think we've seen enough out of Siobhan Revelle to like lock him in as the Cowboys' second corner right now. So I would start backing that up. But you have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 21. I think there's a pick here that's like screaming to me right now.
Yeah. I mean, this is a team that should be building for their future quarterback if we are going to set up the team for the future quarterback. Then the best pick here for that is Penn State guard Venga Ioane.
Yeah.
He just is very much the best player on the board here. Obviously, with guards, it's kind of looking for the fit, but I have a hard time seeing Pittsburgh long-term ever truly deviating from that downhill style running game, which is exactly what you want to use him for. I'm not saying he can't do zone, but maybe don't ask him to move side to side more than he's going forward. Yeah.
So I have the Chargers at 22. I think that they are dying inside to watch Ione go right before their pick, because they're slated to get Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt back next year. And you may look at that and say, wow, the Chargers are going to have the best, like one of the best, if not the best offensive lines with those two tackles. And to that, I will tell you that they're currently also slated to start Trevor Penning and Cole Strange as their two guards,
Yeah.
per the depth chart right
Yep.
now. So
Yeah.
I
I could see them trading up to go get him if
yeah,
he
I could
falls within
definitely
range.
see that.
I could totally see it.
We didn't have a trade offer from them to move up. Yeah, San Francisco is like really aggressively trying to move up in this trend. Like, this is the only team that's offering right now is San Francisco. They're like, we want it all. And
because there's like one first round caliber tackle left, maybe.
I know. So I am going to take that trade. Actually, we haven't had a trade so far in this draft. I look at the Chargers right now and like the scenario I just laid out with their interior offensive line.
You've got to take care of Herbert.
Well, I would, yeah, especially with like there's going to be so much hype with the tackles coming back and with God, what's his face, my twin, McDaniel coming in to be their offensive coordinator. Everybody says I look like Mike McDaniel. With him coming in, there's going to be so much hype. It's going to be like, oh, this is Herbert's MVP season. Chargers are going to win the West. Like, they're going to be a really popular Super Bowl pick. Watch. If they don't address interior offensive line, it is all going to be for naught. So, like, I'm actually at the point where I'm like, God, is 22 too rich for Preyon, however you say, Emmanuel Pregnon, the guard from Oregon? But I think I can still get him at 27. So I'll pick up the extra draft capital to trade back with the 49ers.
Yeah.
The 49ers.
The Sally is pretty solid too.
Yeah. Like there's a couple guards you can grab.
So this offseason, 49ers situation with Trent Williams has been noteworthy. We have no idea if that is going to extend beyond this year, how much longer Trent Williams even plans to play. Seems unlikely to me that Trent Williams is going anywhere this season. If you are going to take a project tackle, you have to take them this year. The only one we're taking this high right now. And I would argue, like, he and Freeling kind of have similar value to me. It's just been a matter of circumstance. But Max Iannacor, tackle from, I want to say Arizona State?
Yep. Yeah. That's where I was going as well. So we'll have San Francisco trade up, take Iannacor. You have the Eagles at 23, and I think it's like, that's a good trade for San Francisco. Cause if you look at like the Eagles needs, they also need a tackle.
Yeah.
You know, and it's right in a spot where like the Steelers could have also taken a tackle. Like,
yeah.
Ironically,
the Eagles are one of the teams that I continue to hear are also very interested in Caden Proctor, which is just hilarious to me because the guy can't stay on his feet. And I mean, like, he got under 380 for the combine, but like, is he going to keep losing weight? Probably not. I think they are really bummed about missing out on Iannacor. Who knows if they're actually interested in Caden Proctor in the first round. I am not, so I will not be doing that. But I will say that there are few teams that I want to see Keldrick Falk go to less than the Eagles, because I feel like that will be a pain in my ass. So if I am the Eagles, I am taking Keldrick Falk in this situation, because everyone else go fuck yourself.
That's Eagles football, baby.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is too big, too strong. Like, he's a really good athlete for his size. Some might think he's more of a 3 tech than he is an edge, but like, I briefly mentioned last week that it's kind of hard to judge him because he was more productive his previous season than he was this last season due to a scheme change. Uh, so I I think there's more there to him as an edge, but I can understand why some would like to see him move inside a little bit.
Yep. So I have the Cleveland Browns at 24. Somehow I ended up making both Cleveland picks. We took a tackle with their first pick and talked about building this roster out so that we can, one, get ready for our quarterback of the future that we're drafting next year, but also like one more year of judgment on Shador Sanders and Deshaun Watson and all of these things. In that vein, I'm going to take Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State. So this is a guy who has had quite a storied injury history throughout college. But when he plays, man, this guy has the potential to be a baller. I heard
he's electric.
Yeah, basically people were saying like he has a basketball, like an NBA player's athleticism on a football field. And some people, I forget who it is. It's from the Substack Read Optional. I forget what the author's name is, so I apologize. But he said that Jordan Tyson thinks he's Kyrie Irving, but is actually Brandon Jennings, and that there's like a lot of wasted movement in his game.
So I was gonna bring this up because I don't think it limits his potential, but I will say that there are definitely a number of plays where he like makes 3 guys miss and then gets tackled by the 4th guy and gains like 1 yard in the midst of that. And it's like, yeah, it's cool on a highlight reel, right? But like, we need to get upfield at some point.
Yeah. Well, it's like in the NBA when we talk about guys who just like play wild, like, can we rein them in a little bit and just have them make the basic plays is kind of what we need out of Tyson. But like, if I'm the Browns and I'm coming away with the tackle Francis they drafted earlier and now a wide receiver that has the ceiling of Jordan Tyson at 24, I'm saying that's a successful first round for what my stated objective was. So
yeah, it's just unfortunate for Jordan Tyson because going to Cleveland just ensures his doom. So
ain't great. You have the Bears at 25. Just drafting for all the teams we hate at this point.
The Bears are going to take quarterback Diego Pavia.
A thing of beauty. My guy.
I will say the Bears got absolutely fucked here. Because they lost like all the first round safeties are gone. And they lost all their safeties. I think they were able to retain some of their corners.
Do you have a trade offer from Kansas City at 29?
I'm gonna make this pick assuming the medicals are good. We as non, NFL personnel don't know that information, but the Bears desperately need pass rush help as well. So we're gonna go with the other Miami edge, Akeem Mesidor. He kind of fits the bill of what Dennis Allen likes in his edges, anyways. That I mean, if we can't add to the safety room, I think the best thing we can do for that secondary is add to the pass rush. Because there really hasn't been much there for a minute now. So, giving Montez Sweat a little bit of help might be wise.
So I have the Bills at 26. Speaking of teams we don't like. So I think they need to go defense. I would look at a wide receiver for them, but they just made the trade for DJ Moore, which we'll see how that pays out because it was kind of a massive overpay for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. So, but I don't think that they're going to like spend all of that capital to get DJ Moore and then come back and draft like a Denzel Boston or someone at 26, although I could be wrong. They have needs at all three levels of the defense.
Yep.
I probably honestly, with like all the capital they just spent on DJ Moore, I'm probably looking to trade back if I'm the Buffalo Bills here. But I have no offers, so I'm just going to go with the highest rated defensive player still on the board, and that is CJ Allen, the linebacker from Georgia. I could, I'd also consider like interior defensive line here.
Yeah, can I make a suggestion? We've been talking about D tackle for years now, and boy, did they not stop the run last year. One Caden McDonald might really help with that.
Yeah, like I said, they have needs at like all three levels.
Yeah.
All the first round safeties are gone, so we're not going DB. They do. That's the other guy I looked at was Caden McDonald, the interior defensive lineman from Ohio State. And just really, you could really go with whoever you have ranked highest here amongst like the front seven guys.
I mean, Avian Terrell's right there. They love taking undersized corners.
Yeah, perfect. Let's just throw another one. No, I'm trying to give them someone that will actually help them. I think CJ Allen.
I actually do like Avian Terrell. Yeah. He plays better than he is, but
so
he does fit the bill for them.
It's true. They have a type. You have our only trade of the mock so far. The Chargers traded back to 27.
I mean, I'm gonna stick with the plan on which you traded back on. They need guard help badly, and we are gonna go with Emmanuel Pregnon. Like I said, if this team is going anywhere, they need to protect Justin Herbert and get that run game going.
Yep. I have the Houston Texans at number 28. Another team I think is dying inside. Just the fact that they just watched Pregnon go right before them, which is like kind of why San Francisco was the perfect trade partner for the Chargers, is they could get right in front of Houston. I look at Houston, I'm like, God, the defense last year was so elite. And then you look at like why they lost that playoff game, and I'm like, God, can I consider Ty Simpson with this pick? Like, because CJ Stroud is not it at all.
I was told after his rookie year that he's a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that's not true?
Yeah. So it ain't great. I have a trade offer from the New England Patriots, actually. But being a Pats fan, there's not really anybody here that I'm like dying for the Pats to go up and get, really. So I mean, okay, so to be fair to CJ Stroud, he was under a lot of pressure.
Oh yeah,
in that game, all day long. So it's rich for this, but I'm gonna go with Chase. I mess up everybody's last name. Bisontis, yeah. So I'm gonna go with Chase Bisontis, the guard from Texas A&M. Like it's high for him, and it's kind of funny to see two guards go back to back at the end of the first round here.
Yeah.
But I think that Houston's just kind of like fucked with CJ Stroud, and you have to just kind of make the situation the best you can for him next year, and you need to improve your offensive line to do so.
Yeah, I could also see Houston taking an edge here. They've been doing these 1-year extensions with Danielle Hunter. Eventually that will end. And they also might want to kind of refresh that rotation a little bit too of edge rushers. So,
yeah, the defense was just so good last
oh
year,
yeah,
and their offense cost them
no,
that playoff game.
yeah,
And I'm like, okay,
yeah. Depending on how the board falls, like if the players aren't there for them to help the offense, I could see them doing that. But
yeah. So you have the Chiefs at 29, and the Chiefs' first pick. We went Mansour Delane, corner. I just love saying that name. It's so much fun.
Kansas City has been fucking around with their wide receivers for fall 2-0. And all they have been picking up are speed guys. Not even like yak guys, just like speed wide receivers that don't necessarily always get yak. What might be nice for Patrick Mahomes is if you got him a big wide receiver that he can throw a fade to. And that would be Washington wide receiver Denzel Boston. I think they need that. It feels very much like Andy Reid is opposed to that, and that will not happen. But I am starting to believe that the aversion to this body type is holding Patrick Mahomes back in some way.
I think Denzel Boston is like a really, really interesting prospect as well because he returned punts he's 6'5", and he returned punts for Washington and also lined up as a running back for them this season. So like the athleticism at
Off
that size to be able to do those things and like the ways that Andy Reid could possibly deploy him with Patrick Mahomes, I think would be really interesting.
And the word out of people who kind of covered him out in the Pacific Northwest during college is that he's like a really, really good human being, which is something that team desperately needs because they actively choose other things, like bad human beings.
When I saw the stuff about Ruben Bain come out and the car stuff, I was like, he's going to Kansas City at number 9.
Yep,
it's such a Kansas City pick.
It's gonna happen.
So I have the Dolphins at 30. We talked about this earlier that you needed someone for Malik Willis to throw to with the first pick, but also they desperately need to make sure that Storm Duck is not a starting corner next year. So we're gonna go Avion Terrell, the corner from Clemson, who I think it's a good spot for him, but he's gonna need to start for them immediately, undersized or not, at the NFL level. But it's an upgrade over Storm Duck.
Yep. But I mean, undersized or not, he has shown that he is comfortable playing press man. And unfortunately for the Green Bay Packers this year, Jeff Hafley has said without outright saying that the reason that they basically never played man last year is because they didn't have anyone on their roster that could play man. And they don't have the picks to address that. So
you're up at 31 with my favorite team, the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
And I already know what we're gonna do here, so I'll be interested to see who you pick.
In a perfect world, I would love to take a tackle for you guys, so that you don't have to again rely on Moses to be your right tackle. The only guy that is listed as an option here, and I don't have any guys that I've looked at that I feel like I'm willing to take here. Maybe if we were like 15 picks back, I'd talk about Tiernan, but that's a bit rich for me.
Do you want me to tell you what they're going to do? That'll help you make a decision.
I know who I'm going to pick, but you can tell me what you guys are going to do.
They're going to take an edge at this spot.
Yep.
It's not listed as a need on PFF for some reason.
But it is a need. It's
Their
actually where I was about to go.
Okay, they have Harold Landry, and they signed Draymond Jones to replace Clavon Chason, who had a career year last year. They have Braden Swinson, who they picked late last year. Elijah Ponder, who was surprisingly good last year, but is more of like a rotational edge rusher. They like desperately need some pop off the edge this season. So you go ahead and make the pick.
Yeah, so I am picking for you guys Clemson edge TJ Parker.
Yeah.
A year ago, this time, TJ Parker was assumed to be a lock for a top 5 pick. Like the rest of the Clemson team that is not Blake Miller, he had a pretty dreadful year. And that is a big part of why he has dropped as far as he has, but also I feel like I probably, in the right situations, I probably could have taken him earlier. I like him a lot more than maybe some do. I feel like at the combine, he diplomatically explained why he had such a drop-off in production this past year, in a way that I think spoke very well of himself. If it doesn't like wipe away everything, but I think it speaks well to his character, but also his football intelligence to be able to explain like why the production changed. Good athlete, not elite, but I think you at the very least are getting a very good football player out of this that is going to come in with some pass rush, but also like probably be a pretty solid run defender for you right off the bat.
Yeah. Give me every piece of that pick, because picking a dude with like the high end, like high caliber profile that TJ Parker had and letting Vrabel coach him up and get, he'll be good.
It would probably take me a day to get over the fact that we didn't take a tackle, but if we took him at 17, I would not be mad.
Yeah. Also, just so everybody is clear and on the same page, we will not be drafting a wide receiver here, because the Patriots will be acquiring AJ Brown after June 1st for next year's first round pick. We know this to be
Diana Rossini's vagina.
Yes, we know this to be factually correct, because Diana Rossini reported it like a month or so ago that like they had a trade in place basically to get him after the June 1st league year flips, and it was probably going to be for next year's pick. And everybody's like, oh, Rossini doesn't know what she's talking about. And if we've learned anything this week, it's that she knows exactly what she's talking about when it comes to Mike Vrabel and the Patriots. So that trade is very much already in place. I guarantee it. They also the Eagles just traded for a wide receiver. They traded for Dontavian Wicks, didn't they? From Green Bay?
Yes. Yep.
Which I know is not like an AJ Brown replacement, but they're definitely putting things in place.
Does make me laugh at Green Bay.
But also like
running out of talent.
At 23 for the Eagles, I could see them drafting a receiver as well. So I have the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks at 32. They will be drafting Diego Pavia, the quarterback out of Vanderbilt. Fuck the Seahawks. No, I want to go edge for them, because like their superpower is the wave after wave of like pass rushers that they've been able to send after people, and they have this like great rotation of edge guys that they need to keep up on. And I just don't really love Cassius Howell that much.
I don't think he's a good fit for what they do anyways.
No, I like Zion Young, the edge from Missouri, for them more. Trying to see who else is here. We got Mason Thomas.
How do you feel about Malachi Lawrence?
I don't have a strong enough opinion.
He's
honestly.
it's a bit of a freak.
Yeah, I could see them going
much like Diana Rossini.
I could see them going that direction as well. I'm just going to take Zion Young to close this out. But I do think it'll be an edge.
Yeah, it'll be someone that they are using to attack with, be it at the defensive line level, the linebacker level, or the defensive back level. It will be something meant to be used aggressively.
Yeah, I was like, do I give them Jacob Rodriguez?
Yeah.
The linebacker from Texas Tech, but it would just
I thought about that. Yeah.
It would just hurt my heart too much after they just beat us in the Super Bowl and then talked a ton of shit this entire offseason to have them take my favorite player in the draft.
I also thought about Caden McDonald, just to like create third nines on like every set of downs.
They're just like, fuck you. We're gonna do the same thing we did last year. But that is it for us. As always, Fouled Out can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Overcast, anywhere you get your podcasts. You can hit us up on Gmail, fouledoutsports@gmail.com, and you can watch the podcast on YouTube. Go to the YouTube, look up Fouled Out Sports, FOWLED. Watch. We just did the whole mock on. I was sharing my screen on the mock draft simulator. You guys can see the whole thing. It's super cool. Matt, I had one question for you, and give me a quick answer before we sign off. The NBA playoff play-in games are this week. Being that your team is the number 1 overall seed in the East, you have the option of playing the Hornets, the Magic, or the 76ers. Who do you want the most?
Oh, give me the Sixers. Group? You kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, to me, it doesn't even matter that Embiid has been shut down. Like, although that certainly helps. But like, that team is basically a stick of butter that has been left out on the counter for 24 hours. So like, you don't need a knife to cut through that. You can cut through that with your finger.
Yeah, I was looking at the Magic and just looking at what Boston's like 4th string did to them yesterday in a game that they desperately needed to avoid the play-in. And I'm like, okay, neither of those is a bad option.
No, that's the decline of Paolo Banchero needs to be studied.
Yeah. As a neutral fan, who I want the Pistons to advance, but just as a neutral fan who doesn't have a stake, please give me Pistons versus Hornets in the first round. Oh my God. After the fight they had earlier this year, and then they played the Hornets the other day without Cade, they big boyed the Hornets and then refused to shake. The Pistons walked off the floor, refused to shake hands with them after the game. Just, oh my God. Absolutely. But we need some give me some spice in the first round of the playoffs. And that is like I think the Pistons win that series in 5. Maybe
4.
6 if the Hornets can get super, super hot from 3 for a game. But
it's 4.
Whatever games it is, I will enjoy every single game and give me the drama. This is how rivalries are born, man. It's God, that would be the most exciting first round series.
Felt
to me.
Strongly enough to not shake hands, and they beat them in their first round matchup. It's 4.
I would enjoy that.
Yeah,
so much. We'll talk. We'll do some more NBA playoff stuff, like NBA Take of the Week, coming back in the upcoming weeks.
For sure.
So, but for now, my friend, I will see you soon.
Yep.
Right.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Bye, Mom.
Bye, Robin. Bye, Diane.